Let me start with a question. Gentlemen, have you ever gone through your medicine cabinet, seen all those bottles of vitamins and supplements and thought, well, these must be helping me, right? After all, you've probably heard for years that vitamins are a safe, natural way to keep your body strong. But what if I told you that some of the very pills you're taking, ones you think are doing good, might actually be sabotaging one of the most important parts of your life after 60? I'm talking about your ability to get and maintain an erection, and not just by a little. I'm talking about vitamins that slowly chip away at your performance, your confidence, and your connection with your partner. I'll never forget one of my patients. We'll call him Alan. He's 67, married for 42 years, and still loves his wife deeply. He came to see me after months of frustration. He said, "Doc, it's like my body's betraying me. I'm doing everything they say, exercising, eating right, even taking a bunch of vitamins from the health store. But things aren't working. And it's affecting the way I feel about myself." Alan wasn't just talking about intimacy. He was talking about his identity as a man, about the quiet erosion of his confidence. I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, and I've spent more than 30 years specializing in men's health, helping men over 60 reclaim their strength, their vitality, and yes, their performance. And I can tell you with complete confidence, Alan's problem wasn't his age alone, and it wasn't bad luck. It was hidden in the very supplements he was taking every morning. See, the supplement world is a tricky place. We've been conditioned to believe that more is better when it comes to vitamins, especially as we get older. You walk down the aisle of the pharmacy and every bottle has a promise: better energy, stronger bones, sharper mind. But what most men don't realize is that certain vitamins, especially in high doses or in the wrong form, can disrupt your hormones, interfere with blood flow, and even numb your body's natural responses. These aren't harmless little capsules. In the wrong context, they're like putting the wrong fuel in your car. It'll run for a while, but sooner or later you'll find yourself stuck on the side of the road. Alan had been faithfully taking a Mega Men's multivitamin, one of those all-in-one formulas that claims to cover every possible nutrient. The label looked impressive, but when I dug into it, I saw doses of certain vitamins that were 2, 3, even 5 times higher than the safe daily limit for someone his age. These weren't helping his body. They were quietly causing damage. Here's what was happening to him, and to many men who don't realize it. Some vitamins in excess can actually reduce your testosterone levels, the very hormone that fuels sexual performance. Others can thicken the blood just enough to make it harder for proper circulation to reach where you need it most. And some interfere with the delicate nerve signaling that allows arousal to translate into action. Alan told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Doc, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was helping my wife by keeping myself healthy. And instead, I was making things worse." That's the part that really frustrates me. Good men, doing their best, getting hurt by the very habits they think are protecting them. Now, before we go deeper, I want to remind you, what we're talking about today isn't about blame. It's about understanding the real story your body is trying to tell you, and then giving you the tools to make it work for you again. If you've been struggling, or if you've noticed changes you can't quite explain, stay with me. By the end of this conversation, you'll know exactly which vitamins might be holding you back, and how to start reclaiming what's yours. And because this is such an important conversation, I want to ask you for a small favor. If you find what I'm sharing helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. It helps more men like you find this information. And if what I'm saying so far feels familiar, if you've noticed changes in your performance and wondered why, just drop a simple yes in the comments. If not, type no. I read those responses myself, and they help me guide future videos so I can answer the questions you care about most. When Alan and I sat down, we reviewed every single pill, capsule, and powder he was taking. The first thing I noticed was that his daily multivitamin had a massive dose of vitamin E, something he thought was good for circulation.
In reality, too much vitamin E can thin the blood to a point where it interferes with the healthy pressure needed for a firm erection. He was also taking high doses of certain B vitamins, thinking they'd give him more energy. But one of those, when taken in excess, was actually disrupting his nerve sensitivity. It's like trying to play a guitar with a worn-out string. The signal just doesn't travel the way it should. I could see the mix of relief and frustration on his face as I explained this. Relief because he finally had an explanation. Frustration because he realized he'd been unknowingly sabotaging himself for years. We made some changes, cutting out the harmful vitamins, adjusting doses, and focusing on nutrients that genuinely support male performance after 60. And within weeks, Alan started noticing changes. His confidence returned. His wife noticed the difference too. Not just in the bedroom, but in his energy, his mood, and the way he carried himself. Gentlemen, that's why I'm so passionate about this topic. It's not about throwing away every supplement you own. It's about knowing which ones to avoid, which ones to take in the right amount, and which ones actually help you keep the life you want. Because after 60, every decision you make for your health carries more weight. The wrong vitamin won't just waste your money, it can quietly chip away at the very things that make life rich and fulfilling. Alan's story isn't rare. In fact, I see it every week in my clinic. And I'll tell you this, the sooner you take back control of what goes into your body, the sooner your body will give you back the strength, the vitality, and the confidence you thought you'd lost. So let's start clearing away some of the myths that have been standing in your way. There are 4 specific vitamins that I want to talk about, 4 that, in the wrong amounts or in the wrong context, can directly weaken your erections after 60. And once you know what they are, you'll be able to make smarter choices, avoid the traps, and keep your body working for you instead of against you. Alan learned that, and it changed everything for him. And you can too. When Alan first heard me say there were 4 specific vitamins that could be quietly sabotaging his erections, he leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and said, "Doc, I've been taking some of these for decades. Are you telling me I've been doing damage this whole time?" I told him something I want you to hear as well. Most of the time, the harm doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, quiet, and sneaky. You won't feel a sudden crash in performance. Instead, you might just notice that things aren't quite the same. That spark isn't as strong. It takes longer to get going, or it's harder to maintain. That's how these so-called healthy vitamins do their damage. They chip away at your performance like a slow leak in a tire. I see this so often in men over 60 because our bodies simply process vitamins differently as we age. When we were younger, our systems were faster at balancing out any extra nutrients we didn't need. But now, it's easier for excess to build up, and that's where the trouble begins. Your body starts reacting to these buildups in ways you might not notice, at least not until it shows up in the bedroom. Take vitamin E, for example, the first one we discovered in Alan's cabinet. You've probably heard it's good for heart health. That's true in the right dose. But here's what most men don't know. When you overdo it, especially with synthetic vitamin E found in many store-bought supplements, you thin the blood just enough to lower the pressure you need for a firm erection. Think about it like a garden hose. If you reduce the water pressure, the flow is still there, but it's weak. That's exactly what happens in the blood vessels leading to the penis when there's too much vitamin E in your system. Alan had been taking more than 3 times the recommended daily amount without realizing it, because his multivitamin had a high dose, and he was also taking a separate heart health supplement. That's a double dose every single day for years. His blood tests confirmed what I suspected. His clotting time was slightly off, which meant his body simply couldn't maintain the pressure where it mattered most. The second vitamin we found working against him was vitamin A. Now this one really surprised him. "Doc," he said, "I thought vitamin A was for your eyes and skin." And it is, but in excess, especially from supplements, it can throw your hormones out of balance. High levels of vitamin A can interfere with the production of testosterone, and when testosterone dips, everything from your energy to your mood to your sexual performance can follow. Alan's blood work showed his testosterone on the lower side of normal, and I had a hunch this constant vitamin A overload was partly to blame. I want to be clear, neither of these vitamins are bad in themselves. The problem comes from too much, too often, especially in supplement form. Your body is designed to get most of these nutrients from food in balanced amounts. But when you throw a concentrated pill into the mix every day, you can tip the scales without realizing it. And that tipping, over time, can mean the difference between a strong, healthy performance and the frustrating struggles so many men face after 60. After we identified these first two troublemakers, Alan's eyes got wide. He said, "What about the others?" That's when I told him about the third one, iron. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because iron is essential for making red blood cells and carrying oxygen. But most men over 60 don't need extra iron unless they've been specifically diagnosed with a deficiency. Why? Because our bodies store iron very efficiently as we age, and when those stores get too high, iron starts to act like rust inside your blood vessels. It creates oxidative stress, stiffens the vessel walls, and reduces their ability to expand during arousal. That means poorer circulation and weaker erections. Alan had been taking more than 3 times the recommended daily amount without realizing it, because his multivitamin had a high dose, and he was also taking a separate heart health supplement. That's a double dose every single day for years. His blood tests confirmed what I suspected. His clotting time was slightly off, which meant his body simply couldn't maintain the pressure where it mattered most. The fourth vitamin that sealed the picture for Alan was folic acid. Now, folic acid is a synthetic form of folate, a B vitamin that's important for cell growth and heart health. But here's what most people don't know. High levels of folic acid from supplements can mask the symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiency. And B12 is absolutely critical for nerve health. Without enough B12, the signals from your brain to your penis during arousal get weaker, slower, or less reliable. Imagine trying to turn on a light with frayed wiring. That's what happens when your nerves aren't getting enough support. Alan had been pushing folic acid levels high enough to create this masking effect, which meant he was slowly developing subtle nerve issues. He didn't feel pain, but he did feel a loss of sensation. That loss of sensation was one of the reasons he struggled to get and stay aroused. When I laid all this out for him, he put his hands on his head and said, "So I've been paying good money to make myself worse?" I told him what I'm telling you now. Yes, but the good news is, once you know the problem, you can fix it. The human body is remarkably resilient, even after 60. When you stop the daily source of damage and start feeding it what it truly needs, it can surprise you with how quickly it bounces back. That's exactly what happened with Alan. Within a few weeks of cutting these 4 vitamins out of his daily routine and replacing them with a diet that gave him the nutrients in a natural balance, he noticed his energy improving. Within a couple of months, his wife told him she'd noticed the old spark coming back. And by the end of the 3rd month, he was confidently telling me that he felt like himself again. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Getting older does not mean losing your ability to perform. What it does mean is that you have to be smarter about what you put into your body. The supplement industry thrives on the idea that more is always better. But after 60, more of the wrong thing can be the very reason you're struggling. If this is hitting home for you, I'd like to know, have you ever looked at the label on your vitamins and realized you might be taking too much of something? Type yes in the comments if that's you. No if you've never thought about it. I read your answers personally, and they help me create advice that really speaks to your needs. And while you're here, hit the like button and subscribe. This channel is about giving men like you the tools to live with strength, confidence, and vitality for as long as possible. Alan's transformation wasn't about magic pills or expensive treatments. It was about understanding the quiet ways his body was being held back and then removing those roadblocks. And once those were gone, nature did the rest. That's the truth I want you to carry with you. Your body is designed to work for you. You just have to give it the right conditions to do so.
Alan's story kept running through my mind for days after our conversation. Here was a man who had done all the right things, but was still losing ground. Not because of age itself, but because of something as simple as the wrong vitamins in the wrong amounts. And once those were gone, his body responded like a flower finally getting the right kind of sunlight. I've seen this same turnaround countless times, but every time it still feels remarkable. What made Alan's case even more powerful was how the change didn't just show up in the bedroom. A few weeks after our follow-up, he came into my office wearing a big grin. "Doc," he said, "you're not going to believe this, but my morning walks are faster. I don't get as winded, I'm sleeping better, and I'm actually looking forward to date nights again." That's the part I love to see, the ripple effect. When you fix circulation, restore hormone balance, and bring back nerve sensitivity, it doesn't just help your performance. It changes your energy, your confidence, and your whole outlook. See, that's the part most men over 60 don't realize. Your body's systems are connected. If something is affecting your erections, it's almost always affecting other areas too. Poor circulation? That's not just about intimacy. That can also mean tired legs, slower recovery from activity, even brain fog. Hormone imbalance? That doesn't just take away your sex drive. It can affect your muscle mass, your mood, your motivation. Nerve issues? They don't just dull sensitivity during intimacy. They can also affect your balance, reflexes, and coordination. That's why the vitamins we talked about, vitamin E in excess, vitamin A overload, unnecessary iron, and too much folic acid are so sneaky. They don't just target one part of you, they throw your whole system slightly off track, and the older you get, the more you feel those small imbalances in every part of life. When I explained this to Alan, he nodded slowly and said, "So this is why I've been feeling older than my age." And I told him, exactly, because your body's been compensating for these little stressors day in and day out. And when we remove those stressors, your body suddenly has more resources to put toward everything else you want to do, whether that's a walk with your grandkids, a round of golf, or a romantic night with your wife. Now, I know some of you watching might be wondering, okay, doc, if these vitamins can hurt me in excess, does that mean I should stop all supplements altogether? Not necessarily. What it means is you have to be strategic. You wouldn't pour random liquids into your car's engine and hope for the best. You'd use the right oil, the right fuel, the right amounts. Your body deserves the same precision. And the truth is, after 60, precision becomes even more important. For Alan, the solution wasn't just about taking away the harmful supplements. It was about adding in the right supports to replace what he truly needed. We focused on food first. I had him swap his breakfast cereal for eggs with spinach and mushrooms, which gave him natural folate without the synthetic overload. I encouraged more salmon and sardines for healthy fats, which help hormone production and blood flow. I told him to snack on pumpkin seeds instead of iron-fortified granola bars. They're rich in zinc, which supports testosterone, without overloading him with unnecessary iron. And here's something else. Alan had been drinking 2 big glasses of orange juice every day because he thought the vitamin C would boost his immunity. The problem? All that sugar was spiking his blood glucose, which can damage blood vessels over time. We switched him to water with a slice of lemon, and he still got his vitamin C, but without the sugar hit. That small change alone helped him feel more alert in the afternoons. It's the combination of these little adjustments that started to rebuild his body from the inside out. I often tell my patients that men's health after 60 isn't about a single big fix. It's about stacking small wins. Remove what's quietly draining you, add what your body truly needs. Do it consistently, and watch how your body thanks you. One of the most touching moments came about 2 months after we started this plan.
Alan told me he and his wife had gone away for a weekend to celebrate her birthday. Doc, he said, I was nervous at first, I didn't want to disappoint her again, but I didn't. In fact, I think I surprised both of us. He laughed when he said it, but I could see in his eyes it was more than just a laugh. It was relief, pride, a sense of manhood restored. That's why this conversation matters so much, because when you're over 60, you're not just fighting for performance in one moment. You're fighting for the confidence, connection, and joy that comes with knowing your body still works the way you want it to. And here's where I want to check in with you. If you're hearing this and thinking, I might be in the same boat Alan was in, let me know in the comments. Just type yes if you suspect your supplements could be holding you back, or no if you're sure they're not. I go through those comments personally because I want to understand exactly what you're facing. And while you're here, please like this video and subscribe. It's one of the simplest ways to make sure more men your age get this information before they lose more ground. Something I often remind my patients, and I'll remind you, is that at this stage in life, your body is like a classic car. It can still run beautifully, but it needs the right care. You wouldn't pour any old fluid into that engine or leave the wrong parts in place. You would give it exactly what it needs to perform at its best. And when you do, it rewards you with smooth, powerful, reliable performance for years to come. Alan is proof of that. The man who once came in feeling frustrated and defeated now carries himself with an ease I wish every man over 60 could feel. And it all started with a hard truth. Realizing that something he thought was helping was actually hurting, and making the choice to change. What I want for you is the same outcome, to look at your shelf of supplements with not blind faith, but with knowledge, to feed your body in ways that make you stronger, more energetic, more confident, and never accept the idea that this is just what happens with age. Your performance, your health, your vitality, they're not gone. They're waiting for you to remove the roadblocks and give your body what it's been asking for all along. And when you do, the change can be faster and more complete than you might believe right now.
A few months after Alan first walked into my office, we sat together for a final follow-up before spacing his visits out. He looked different. Not just physically, though he'd lost a bit of weight and his posture seemed taller, but in his entire presence. His handshake was firmer, his smile came easier, and there was a quiet confidence in his voice. "Doc," he said, "I wish I'd known this years ago. I thought losing my edge was just part of getting older. Now I see it was never about my age. It was about what I was putting into my body without realizing it. That's a truth I wish every man over 60 could hear. Your body still has the capacity for strong, healthy performance, but you have to work with it, not against it. And unfortunately, some of the most common vitamins, vitamin E in high doses, too much vitamin A, unnecessary iron, and excessive folic acid are working against you if you take them without knowing your actual needs. The real danger with these vitamins isn't that they're bad in themselves, it's that the supplement industry has sold the idea that more is always better, that a big number on the label means a bigger benefit. But your body isn't built that way. Past a certain point, more doesn't mean better, it means imbalance. An imbalance can rob you of the very things you're trying to protect. Alan's story is living proof that once you take away what's holding you back, your body can rebound in ways that feel nothing short of miraculous. He didn't need an expensive prescription or a risky procedure. He needed clarity, a plan, and the willingness to make a few key changes. And now, at 67, he's walking, sleeping, and performing better than he did in his late 50s. And it's not just about intimacy. When you restore proper circulation, hormone balance, and nerve health, you're not just improving one part of life, you're making every day better. You've got more stamina for your hobbies, more patience for your family, and more drive to stay active. You're not dragging through the day, you're living it. So, here's my challenge to you. Tonight or tomorrow morning, go to your medicine cabinet, pull out every supplement you take, and read the label, not just the front, but the fine print on the back. Look for vitamin E, vitamin A, iron, and folic acid. See how much you're actually getting, and then ask yourself if those numbers are there because your body truly needs them or because a company told you they'd help.
If you're not sure how much is too much, that's where a conversation with a men's health specialist can be a game changer. We can check your blood levels, see exactly what your body needs, and give you a supplement plan that supports your performance instead of weakening it. And if you take nothing else from this talk, let it be this: don't give up on your body just because you've passed a certain birthday. I've seen men in their 70s and even early 80s regain a level of vitality they thought was gone forever. The key was removing the silent saboteurs and giving their bodies the chance to function the way they were meant to. I want you to imagine what your life could look like 3 months from now if you took this advice seriously. Maybe you wake up with more energy. Maybe you feel more present with your partner. Maybe you get back that sense of strength and capability that makes you feel like yourself again. That's not a fantasy. That's the reality for men who stop letting the wrong supplements dictate their health. So before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. If you've ever suspected that something you thought was helping your health might actually be hurting it, type yes in the comments. If not, type no. I read your answers personally, and they help me create the exact advice you need most. And while you're here, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the conversations that can keep you living strong, confident, and connected for decades to come. Alan walked out of my office that day with a smile that told me we'd done more than fix a medical issue. We'd given him back his sense of manhood, his confidence, and his optimism for the years ahead. And that's what I want for you. Not just a solution, but a restoration. So, here's to living with vitality at every age, to making smart choices for your body, and to never accepting decline as just part of getting older. Because you deserve to feel strong, capable, and alive. Not just some of the time, but all the time. And remember, sometimes the path back to your best self isn't about adding more. It's about removing what's been holding you back all along.